My brother, what is HBAR? Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Marshall. Depending on who's seeing this, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm trying to bridge the world between Web 2, Web 3. Web 3 being ledgers, blockchain, fun things. And so the best thing you could do is close this video and open one from Dr. Leemon, who invented this stuff. This dude is an absolute legend. I think most people that are in the space really are here because of him. So I'll link this video down below. But essentially, we're talking about data structures. Woo! We're talking about transactions. It's the idea that, like a typical blockchain, right? You add a transaction onto the ledger. So a hash graph has all these unique principles as far as like being able to bring a lot of utility in terms of like efficiency and throughput, as it kind of lists here, by having a lot of different nodes to help reach consensus. So a lot of things, a lot of just buzzwords right there, but really when you break it down, there's just like some core principles that I think are a little bit different. Meaning, when you look at like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Hedera, let's just start there and pause for a bit. So you're talking about transactions per second. You know, Bitcoin deliberately is not able to transact that quickly. And so along came Ethereum. It had the introduction of smart contracts. So it's like programmable code. I'll get to that a little bit. It's basically the ability to make an application. You know, think of like, like, I don't know, Tinder, that's an app. Grubhub, that's an app, right? These are ways that using something called a wallet, so this is called Hashpack, you'll learn about this, you're actually able to connect your wallet to these various different, apps and basically interact in a way. And you have to approve it and approve these transactions. And I'm jumping a little bit ahead. So why am I talking about this stuff? When you think about ownership, a ledger, a blockchain allows you to remove intermediary parties, meaning like think about like a bank, before with like a bank or Venmo, right? You're using a company to send money. Now all you have to do is basically take your wallet, whatever currency that would be, and just you're able to send it to a specific address. So what I mean by that is, I covered it in the last video for like a second, that each account has like a public address. Granted, the irony is that I've actually hidden it on this sort of this feature, this recording feature on Hashpack, where like my account IDs are not shown. But that's essentially what blockchain technology is that you don't need someone to verify a transaction, because the technology itself, by a consensus mechanism, by being able to timestamp these things, you're able to just have that be a feature of the technology. So I'll stop there to give myself a convenient edit. But really what the community is about, it's about making art. It's about, being able to have all these kinds of different projects. In this case, this is some like key opinion leader on Bitcoin. Some guy tweeted last year, like, oh, my brother, what is HBAR? So it's a little bit of a meme. And then everybody kind of just piled on, because we're sort of the, like, nobody cares. Nobody cares about, like, I think about when I worked at a public company, nobody cares about utility. I don't think fundamentals matter when you think about like a stock, right? You have all these companies that are just like shorting a stock. They're not looking at the fundamentals. And so fundamentally, Hedera, is the source of a lot of like really good fundamentals. They call it the trilemma of blockchain, meaning the speed, cost, and security. So sort of like I keep going back to this page, I don't know why. You have a lot of trade-offs. You either have, again, like the speed of something, or there's gas fees. So gas fees alone, Ethereum, there's a bunch of layer 2s that are sort of based off that, meaning like blockchains built off of the original one. And the network can fork and all these things. But back to the fundamentals, right? You talk about transactions per second, you talk about gas fees, and the finality, the time to finality for a transaction. So it's something where, again, a lot of this stuff is overlooked. There's other networks that are out there that are certainly competitive, but I also think there's arguments in place where like they're not as good. But I'm a maximalist. I don't believe in 95% of blockchains, to be honest. I don't really care. I've been in this space for about 4 years. I don't really spend my time researching them, because I'm already, in so deep. So I'll link you these down below, and we'll chat soon.